the romantic bubble of ignorance. It's been pushed on us to like men and not taught what masculinity is, and then the women who are telling women to date men, a lot of it is just, it's outdated because more times than not, we have to understand and accept that men are men and they're very disconnected from themselves. All they're looking for is ambition, power, money, and sex. Not divine masculine or feminine. It's just like, it's a whole kaleidoscope of keep that shit the fuck away. Away from me. If you're new here, I do self-discovery, self-development videos, but today it's a different motive. I thought I was gonna start a podcast on this stuff, but like maybe I should just use YouTube as my podcast until I'm ready to expand out. So yeah, today we're gonna be talking about male, female, masculinity, and femininity and my thoughts on it. Agree, don't agree, I don't care. Also, I don't believe in agreeing to disagree. Like, that's the most idiotic, stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, please just disagree. Like, like you don't understand or you don't agree, and that's okay. But I hope I threaten your cognitive dissonance. I think that's my goal. Because, yeah. So, I have really been reflecting and angry at the fact that so many people are so ignorant to the fact that we've been, as women, we have been so conditioned to be in romance with men. And I'll hear women talk about men and talk about liking men and being physically attracted to men. And I'm like, and as somebody who has questioned my own sexuality and has really like sat down and recognized and has experienced and observed men, masculinity, femininity, and just women without those phenotypes of not even gender roles. Like, I don't even think we can call these things gender roles, like, at this point. Like, I don't even know. That's like, I just feel like we have to have more discussions on dissecting what this stuff is. But like, as somebody who has like kind of observed it and kind of heard different viewpoints and trying to explore outside of what male and women, men and women are, I have a lot to opinionate. So first of all, when girls, myself included, say they like men, I don't like them anymore, first of all, because let's start with it. Like, us look at the statistics of who men are. Let us look in our communities and see how women have been endangered and affected by men of, because I don't think masculinity is toxic. I think men are toxic and people try to pair masculinity with that. Because I know women who are masculine, who are very healthy, and that's why a lot of people are gay. You know what I mean? Because masculinity is not attached to men, and I think people are attracted to men and not masculinity. And that's when we start getting these gaps and these like, wait, like you don't really know what, like you don't really know what's going on. Just look at your community, look at the news, look at places like Iran. Like, these are just men. These are not masculinity. These are not protectors. These are not providers. These are not the smart, ambitious, gentle being. Masculine energy is supposed to be protective, is supposed to be caring, is supposed to be providing, is supposed to be gentle. Like, I have experienced that, and frankly, men who embody masculinity are still men. Like, you can strip men from, like, if you strip masculinity from men and female would be the better phenotype. Like, they are the better of the two, because a man's innate being, unless they were raised around a lot of women, which still doesn't give them a pass, because I've dealt with men who've been raised by women and they're terrible too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just cannot excuse men, and I can't ever, I don't pair masculinity with men anymore. And I feel like that's when it gets toxic. When people don't teach men masculinity and they don't grow them in masculinity and bully them in society because they're not masculine and they're too feminine. When a true man actually accepts femininity, because that enhances his masculinity. Like, you know what I mean? This video isn't really structured. It's kind of just a take. So bear with me here. Like, I need you to start processing what I'm saying. We will grow men in the society and be like, hey, like, you're a man, you're strong, and then leave it at that. That's where toxic masculinity is. And people who even talk about toxic masculinity aren't even really hitting these points. Like, you tell men to be strong and to literally throw away their feminine side, which is the emotion, the nurture, the divineness, the God energy, the subconscious mind. They tell them not to worry about that, not to care about that, not to nurture that, and then just go in the world and be strong and create money or power or be ambitious and never give up and be determined. That's toxic. Now, if you're not going to teach the masculinity trope, then you should not also be taking away the femininity trope. And that is where it gets toxic. But masculinity isn't toxic. I've experienced it. It's kind of very wholesome, especially when you're in your feminine energy. Those two things really do work together. They're like a balance. And frankly, a lot of men don't have that. That's why we see men literally deteriorating society. But even with that, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't excuse men for not having masculinity or not being taught masculinity, because we see the men with very firm masculinity, and it's also not healthy because their innate sense of being is to have this kind of dictating power structure, power dynamic over women and children and rules and stuff. And it's just like, men are the problem, and we're trying to say, no, it's masculinity. But it's like, no, masculinity can be with the female, and it literally works like heaven, because we see the lesbian relationships, okay? And if you strip the women of masculinity, they're wholly feminine, and that is nurtured. And people don't teach women femininity either. They ridicule it because they abandon men of their feminine energy. Men go in the world and start telling women, oh, you just want everything to be done for you, you're too sensitive, you're this, you're that, like, I hate bitches who cry all the time, I hate bitches, and start doing that. And that's where we get the toxic men, not toxic masculinity. We get toxic, unraised, unnurtured men telling women that they shouldn't be feminine. And a woman's instinct is to attack, but take it back on herself and be like, wait, this isn't supporting me, this isn't benefiting me at all. And so she innately just connects back to herself, and with that she finds her feminine energy, she finds what a woman is, and she realizes that we have been raised in a society that excuses male behavior because it's not masculine. And it's like, this is when we can, like, question our sexuality, because it's like, I had to sit down and be like, wait, men are attractive, yes, and there's even a few of them. And then when I had the, like, that's what I'm saying, like, when I'm talking about this stuff, like, I've had the attractive man, I've had the rich man, I've had the masculine man, I've had the feminine man. And it's like, okay, you can be attracted to a body type and a facial structure and maybe the money and barely the morals, because like, men benefit from toxic male behavior so much more than people think. Like, yes, in the movies it's like Prince Charming and the king of the world, but in real life, talking shit about their girlfriends, not supporting their girlfriends, not speaking up for their girlfriends, not speaking up for their own damn moms, making women do more work while they sit on their asses. Like, it goes deeper, like making jokes about women emotions, making jokes about female rape, making jokes about making commentary about getting women pregnant. Like, it's so much more than you can imagine. And and men not even teaching their daughters about this stuff, like, oh, you need to find a man, like pushing the agenda of just finding a man. Like, all that stuff is just like, bro, you know what I mean? And so that's why we question our sexuality. And it's like, okay, you're attracted to men, but I just went through 0.5 percentage of male behavior and male thought processes. And it's like, I had to sit down with myself, and it's like, okay, male are attractive, you're told to be attracted to a man. You know, I myself have had sexual trauma from men repetitively for years on end, and I had to act on that too. out of trauma response. And so it's like, I've had every man, I've been attracted to them. I've actually disassociated from being attracted to them because it was just given to us. It's like women, like, yeah, men are mean to you because they like you. Men do this because they like you. You need to find a man. You need, like, it is quite literally pushed onto us through every media source and your surroundings and the marriages and the romantic bubble of ignorance, I would call it. It's been pushed on us to like men and not taught what masculinity is unless you take it upon yourself, which I had to do because at a certain point I realized that dealing with men is literally a form of self-harm. And I was like, okay, what type of men won't make me feel like I'm literally killing myself being with them? And it was like, I found the masculine rich man, and I still realized the toxicity in just men. And it's like, okay, then we can get into the feminine, which is nurturing, care, emotions, building, creating, manifesting, the subconscious, healing, all of that stuff lies within the feminine. And later in this video, I'm going to talk about how I really think that men need to embody their feminine energy because everybody has the subconscious and everybody has the conscious, which is the subconscious is feminine and the conscious is masculine. But that is the feminine, and I think a lot of women crave feminine energy. A lot of women crave it within themselves and they crave it within men. And that's not totally possible unless you do like feminine men. Like that, like, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Femininity and masculinity are two traits. They're not attached to men or female. You can embody it or you can't. A lot of women are attracted to feminine energy. You know, shoot me if you think I'm wrong. I really don't care. But when I hear women say what they want in a man, it's like, I want him to bring me flowers and to be nurturing and to be sweet and to be gentle and to hold me and caress me and also provide for me and do all that stuff. And it's like, you are more likely to find that in a woman that is connected to her masculine and feminine energy than a man. And you will, and than a man that doesn't have masculine or feminine energy and has completely not understand either phenotypes and is just man. But if he has connected to his feminine and masculine energy, yes, that's the man. But if you're not able to recognize femininity and masculinity within anyone, you're really just attracted to a body. Like, and that's like another spiritual like level that you have to get to and to threaten your cognitive dissonance. But it's like all these movies and televisions and fairy tales didn't really go into this. It just said Prince Charming and ran with it, and no one else really questioned it. And then realized when they're like 70 years old as a woman, at least I'm speaking for the female experience, I've seen it multiple times. You grow up with your moms telling and your dads telling you, oh, don't find a boyfriend until you're like 20 or like you've genuinely grown into yourself. And they know and they say this stuff because they know who men are, but they don't teach what masculine and feminine is. They don't teach sexuality outside the bubble of, yes, you're gonna have to find a man, yes, you're gonna have to find a woman, but know yourself first because that's all you're gonna have to find. And it's like, no, like I think I'm gonna teach my children, if I have adopted ones, that it's like, you really have to know if you like the nurturing, if you're sexually attracted and you're emotionally attracted to a certain type of phenotype, and you can be non-binary and still embody masculine and feminine traits. And that's why they don't, I think I like non-binary people because they don't have to play into the, oh, I'm a man, I'm masculine, I'm a girl, I'm feminine, you know what I mean? And like, even as somebody who is not sexually attracted to men that much anymore, it's like, I really embody masculine traits. And I really do, like, I have the phenotype of providing, protecting, ambition, and I also am very connected to my feminine. I'm literally a Pisces, you know what I mean? I'm very, 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 very feminine. And I'm also half masculine, and I think I really resonate with my feminine traits more, and I admire that more. Therefore, I admire femininity more, and I admire masculinity to a certain extent, not the overpowering, toxic, ambitious, like trying to assert power man traits, more of like the masculine trait of protecting, guidance, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I like as a girl raised with a lot of women and in society look to women a lot. I think I see a lot of masculinity in it, and I think a lot of women do need to connect to their femininity now or never, regardless of the time they do. Like some women never connect with their feminine because they're so attached to men and their bullshit that they become very, very masculine, and they actually embody masculinity because they're so attached to pleasing this man and catering to this man and trying to make him be good to them. And it's like you're begging for him. That's when they say stop begging for men. It's like you're begging for a man instead of embracing your femininity, seeing that if you like men and then if you like masculinity, you need to find that pair. And if you don't find that pair, you are being broken every second that you're in that relationship. And even if you want a man that's feminine, know that, because if you're going into it thinking every man is masculine, I think that's very toxic as a woman too, because it's just hurting you, because he's going to be sitting on his ass and he's going to be in his feminine energy. Like as a male, he's going to be in his feminine energy. And if you're not attracted to feminine energy in men, then that's going to really trigger you and you're not going to see it. You're just going to be chasing and you're going to be wanting and you're going to be longing and you're going to be in tears because he's as feminine as you. He wants to sit down too. And because he wants to sit down too and you can't coexist with that type of energy, you're going to be chasing all the time. You're going to be trying to find more, trying to make him masculine, make him bring you flowers, make him cater to you, make him love you. And it's like, a masculine man already does that, but because he's feminine, he's expecting it from you. And as a woman and as a feminine woman, you're gonna start to change to a masculine woman to cater to him. Like, are you feeling my agenda? Are you understanding me now? Yeah, so I just think society just needs to understand the difference between men, masculinity, female femininity, and non-binary can literally embody both of those. Lesbian women literally embody both of those. Some men embody both of those because, one of those, which is the feminine, because they can't take responsibility for being masculine, or they can't take responsibility for, being masculine, and they can't take responsibility for being feminine because they know how people treat feminine people and they know how they treat feminine people and they, do all that stuff. It's literally ingrained in our culture, and that's why men stray away from being called feminine because they don't want to be talked to how a feminine female is talked to. You know what I mean? So it's all like a kaleidoscope of circular moments and of things of just, I think, the ignorance in our society. And that's why it's like we do need to start having sexuality conversations, because some people don't understand this stuff and are so competent in ignorance that it's just like, when I hear them talking, I'm just like, or when I hear like the podcast and like even the women who are telling women to date men. Some of them are teaching masculinity and how to acknowledge it, but some of them are just teaching how to get a man by being feminine. But if they're teaching how to recognize masculinity, yeah, but it's like a lot of it is it's outdated, because more times than not, we have to understand and accept that men are men and they don't embody either of those, and they're very disconnected from themselves. All they're looking for is ambition, power, and money and sex. And that is none of the phenotypes. They're not divine masculine or feminine. And it's hard to accept, but like, let's think about all the women that have been abused, abandoned, disrespected because we have allowed men to stray away from femininity or masculinity. And so, hey, tough life, bro. Tough life. Think about those women who have suffered under the hands of men who are not connected to femininity because they know people abuse it, and then masculinity because they don't know how to embody it and they don't know how to have healthy masculinity, because then they start macho manning shit. So think about that. Think about all the women. So, if this is hurting your feelings, if this is, oh my God, what is she saying? This can't be true. let's look at the statistics. Because it angers me. It angers me, and that's why I'm making this video. It angers me. Stop thinking men are not predictable. Men are predictable because they're men and they don't have healthy masculinity. They don't even have masculinity at all. They know femininity is ridiculed and abused, and so they don't want to embody that. And so you just have men like our president, you have men like the men who voted for our president, you have women centering men like our president, you have women centering men who don't embody femininity or masculinity, you have women thinking they're attracted to men who they can't even recognize the difference between femininity and masculinity, and you just have people ridiculing people that are non-binary, that are actually more healthily romantic in a sense of being feminine or masculine or both. And you have people ridiculing sexuality differences because they themselves don't understand that you cannot, sometimes people are just not attracted to masculinity, and sometimes people are just not attracted to femininity, and sometimes people are attracted to both, or sometimes people are attracted to nothing. I mean, hey, you know what I mean? But those people have found their own type of sexuality, and I think more people need to start questioning theirs. Some people are just very ignorant in ridiculing sexuality, and then some people like myself didn't even understand sexuality. I just thought I was attracted to how men look, and like, yes, those fuckers are attractive, but like not their character. And even the masculine ones, unfortunately, haven't embodied masculinity in a healthy way. And so, and they still have the male character traits because they're infiltrated by so much male toxicity, like not masculine toxicity, male toxicity, that they validate and enable their toxic male counterparts. And it's just like, it's a whole kaleidoscope of keep that shit the fuck away away from me. Like, keep it away from me. Like, you know, I feel like I'm masculine to a sense. Like, I think I'm transferring a little bit to like dressing like that, but still very feminine in how I look. Like, you know, I just think sexuality is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to discover and question. Yeah, keep it away from me. You know, I love the gay men though, because they are fully embodied in their feminine energy while understanding that they are male. They are fully embodied in that, and they can coexist with women healthily, or other men, other feminine men healthily, and they can disable toxic masculinity and toxic and male who are not even connected to the feminine. And I really respect that, and I love that for them. And I love non-binary people, and I love gays, and I love lesbians, and I love pansexuals, and I love all those people, and I love trans people. So yeah, I think we need to start questioning our society more though. Yeah, but this video wasn't really structured. It was just kind of like a take. That's the truth. Agree or not. I thought, you know, I probably thought otherwise before, but now I don't. And I question my own dissonance, and I question my own beliefs, and I question the society I was raised in, and the marriage and heteronormativity. And it was just like, wait, all of us are stupid because that's just male and female having sex. Masculine and feminine are still two different things. But yeah, thank you. You know, these videos are gonna start to get real hectic because my brain. Love you guys so much. Subscribe. Make sure to check out my self-development videos. We're transferring into a different bubble. I still have a journal possibly cooking for you guys. And yeah, talk to you next time on Movie Talks Beauty.